Hello there. Where does this end? We now hear that hospitals are putting English speakers at the back of their queues. Things are getting progressively worse for ordinary Brits in the UK. What more do we have to endure? Healthcare is now being meted out on the basis of language and therefore in many cases on the basis of nationality or ethnicity. And this is exactly the result the far left woke types would celebrate. Because if you cannot speak English, you will be prioritised on the list to see your doctor on time, while those who do speak English will end up languishing in the waiting rooms hoping for a later slot when the inevitable delays start. So those born here and those who come here and integrate and learn the language are disadvantaged. And it's all down to the need for interpreters. Those who need interpreters will be seen first, so as to reduce the hourly cost of hiring interpreters. And here was me believing the pro-immigration mantra that the people who wish to make a new life here do so because they have an English language connection. The result is, of course, that ordinary Brit patients are being pushed to the back of the queue, even where numbered ticketing systems are used. Now that's bad enough in the NHS. But the big question is, where else in our society is this being practiced, or will soon be practiced? What other public services will see those who come here without learning the lingo get preferential treatment? Maybe it's already happening, but we don't know about it yet. And will the private sector be following suit? Or has it already done so? And the very fact this story has emerged shows that this practice is already having an impact. Imperial College Healthcare, an NHS trust with 5 hospitals across northwest London, prioritises patients who have been assigned an interpreter, reports the Mail. The trust's aim is to avoid additional charges from the interpreting service. And it goes on to say that Imperial has a policy that if delays occur, those patients who have pre-booked appointments and need an interpreter should be seen on time. Tory leadership hopeful Robert Jenrick said, "Brits are already waiting too long for treatment. The last thing they should be subjected to is the indignity of being pushed to the back of the queue. This is yet more evidence of the pressure mass migration places on our public services and the difficulties integrating such unprecedented numbers. Non-English speakers shouldn't be given a queue pass." Forgetting to mention, of course, that this is a system reacting to the immigration pressures placed on it by previous governments over decades, including the last 14 years of Tory misrule. And now, under a change of government to Labour, the woke system is reacting quite openly in a way that discriminates against those that were born here or who fully integrated. How long before some bright spark in the Treasury comes up with the wizard wheeze of building hospitals and surgeries for the non-English speakers in society in order to deal with their specific language needs? Such a policy would, of course, leapfrog to the front of the super woke policy queue, wouldn't it? So the upshot is that patients do not appear to be seen on the basis of clinical need anymore, nor on the basis of fairness. And the Mail says that an NHS doctor, Katja Schmidtjen, had previously told them that translation-related delays had become a major issue, especially in urban areas, surprise, surprise, and that those types of appointments took twice as long to carry out, leaving less time to deal with the rest of us. So if there is a delay, especially early in the working day, then those more lengthy appointments will be prioritised, pushing the English speakers to the back of the queue. Then there's the issue of entitlement and whether any fees actually due are ever paid or chased by the NHS. And don't mention all the leaflets the NHS prepares for every single language. Ultimately, this is divisive. And we can expect to see more of this under Labour's woke, communist-driven tenure. Much more. Because for them, immigration and non-integration are as important as they were under the Tories. Never judge the politicians by what they say, just look at what they do and what actually happens. My advice would be to self-identify as an English, non-English speaking citizen, then insist on an English to English translator. And if you can speak Welsh or Gaelic, then insist on an interpreter. You know it makes sense. And even with evidence like this, the usual suspects still brand the UK and the people in it as institutionally racist, where the natural population has to apologise and atone on a daily basis for the wrongs they have not committed. Now, Labour has walked headlong into this, but has supported it all the way over the last 14 years. Things can only get worse for Brits. And the Brits are now realising the damage that Keir Starmer and his communists will inflict on us. A recent poll by the More in Common think tank indicates that 60% of the nation's voters actually think that Labour will be ousted at the next general election. Yes, 60%. And Keir Starmer's Labour has only been in office for less than 3 months, with a huge majority to boot. Interestingly, it's a 50-50 split where the 18 to 24-year-olds are concerned, and a 60-40 split in favour of Labour where the 25 to 34-year-olds are concerned. But the older generations of 35 and above say overwhelmingly that Labour will be toast at the next general election. And overall, 57% of men and 63% of women said Labour will be gone. Wonder what such a poll will look like once the Labour Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, has waved her magic Treasury wand. And remember that Labour has already started to feather the nest of its preferred voter base and will continue to do so. The unions and their members already realise that the wage printing press is now in their hands, so will be championing and voting for Starmer and his crowd till the cows come home. So this recent poll, I think, shows that there are far more potential losers over Labour policies out there than there are potential winners. And this is happening during what should be a honeymoon period for Labour. More like a sleaze-ridden nightmare start. And one comment on this in the Telegraph comments section caught my eye, where a commenter said they were celebrity crooks skating on thin ice. Rather apt, I thought. And another old saying that springs to mind is a leopard never changes its spots. So what we've seen so far of the Labour government offering is probably all we'll be seeing while they sit as top dog in Parliament.